Hey everyone, it's Ryan1940 here, and we are at Ramona Airport and Microsoft Flight Simulator continuing our use of PilotEdge. Today's flight will be up to Big Bear, which is northeast of Los Angeles in the San Bernardino Mountains. The scenery we'll be using for that area is a freeware scenery that not only incorporates changes to the Big Bear area, but also incorporates a freeware L35 airport by Josue Mejia. The airport even has some custom signs that come from the author of this Ramona airport, Vincent Bazillio. We are currently sitting under some thick overcast at about 1400 feet. I'm not too worried about it at the moment. It's fairly typical down here in San Diego to see this overcast layer come in overnight and usually burn off by mid to late morning. So we're going to go ahead and press on with our checklist, and hopefully by the time we're all set to go, the overcast above us will have burned off.
Ramona Airport, ATIS Information Golf, 1625 Zulu, wind 150 at 3, visibility 10, 1400 scattered, temperature 22, dew point 16, altimeter 299er1, arriving and departing runway 27, visual approaches in use. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information.
Alright, so we've got the current ATIS, and if you listen closely, you would have noticed it said scattered at 1400 feet. We can see it pretty clearly now starting to dissipate. At this point, we're going to continue to press on. I'm confident we can head out east before hooking up north to make sure we're clear of the clouds. As we get our radios set, I end up noticing my push to talk isn't working, and it requires a reset of the sim to resolve. But that worked out pretty well. By the time we get back into Ramona, the new weather was updated, and in the sim, lo and behold, the overcast is all burned off. It is crystal clear and warming up here, so we're not going to waste any more time getting up in the air and on our way to Big Bear. This flight will have been my 8th flight in 4 days using PilotEdge. Up to this point, I've been continuing to fly between Ramona and Borrego Valley just to build familiarity with an airport, sort of pretending it's my student base here at Ramona for flight instruction. This flight to Big Bear will be the longest so far. I'm ready to stretch my legs and wander further from our base. So without further ado, let's talk to ground and get going. Ramona ground, Piper 304 Romeo Sierra is at east parking, ready to depart for taxi to the north, with the information hotel.
Romeo Sierra, Ramona ground, runway 27, taxi via Alpha.
Taxi via Alpha to runway 27, 304 Romeo Sierra. So I actually remembered to say the ATIS information this go around, though you can probably tell it came into my head at the last moment. So I'll continue to practice and hopefully it'll become more natural over time. Part of the operating out of the same place thing that I've got going is to help facilitate remembering things, and I'm hoping when I'm not having to remember different runway or taxi instructions from different airports, I can be more focused on the speech over the radio. Of course, the cool little custom signs like this certainly help as well, and are great for some mental checks before you proceed to the next phase of your movement on the ground. This freeware Ramona scenery has quite a few of these. A good amount of them are located at the run-up area, which we're going to see very shortly. Oh, I love these little signs. They are simple but useful if you're trying to operate in a somewhat realistic manner, but you aren't fully aware of the local airport procedures. Because of these signs, I now make sure that I hit 2,000 feet MSL before I do my turns on departure out of this airport. And it's also great to have those SoCal approach frequencies showing there as well, as another sanity check in case you're off into the Bravo shortly after takeoff. Simple touches like this really make the airport feel alive over the default scenery, and it really adds to the immersion of the whole experience. Alright, the run-up checks are done, and we're going to taxi to the hold short line for 27 and contact the tower for our takeoff clearance with departure to the north. Ramona Tower, Piper 304 Romeo Sierra is holding short, runway 27 at Alpha 1.
304 Romeo Sierra, Ramona Tower, runway 27, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 27, 4 Romeo Sierra. Now, one of the things I'm working on for my takeoffs is to not overboost the engine. You're supposed to be at, I believe, 41 inches of manifold pressure, and it's very easy for me, if I don't pay attention, to exceed that. The thing I also struggle with is on the ground roll, well, even in taxiing in general, with the turbo aero, is the nose wheel responsiveness seems a tad bit sensitive. I think I'll have to figure out if I can sort it out with some sort of curves, or if somebody's got a mod for that particular issue. All in all, though, it's always a pleasant experience flying out of here with the scenery upgrade to the airport. The area immediately around the airport is also my kind of scenery. I really enjoy the Southern California countryside in the hills and mountains that you tend to see right outside of the major metro areas. I'm thankful these areas I enjoy flying around in flight sim for the most part have high quality textures, so no matter what time of day or year, it just looks great. Now we're continuing to fly the runway heading as we climb to our altitude restriction of 2,000 feet for that noise abatement, and once we hit that, we'll start our turn to the north and continue to climb.
Cleveland Tower, Cessna 6733 Papa, holding short runway 24 at Alpha 1, ready for departure eastbound VFR.
We're on our way now, so let's take a quick look at our simple routing up to Big Bear. Our next waypoint will be Happy, then Bands, then Donna, and then finally up into Big Bear. We'll be cruising at between 8,000 to 8,800 feet, and the total flight distance should be around 95 nautical miles. What'll be unique in this flight is the field elevation for Big Bear is significantly higher than many other common Southern California airports, with Big Bear being at 6,752 feet. And lastly, the flight should be around 40 minutes in duration. Down below us there is San Pascal Valley, and it is one of my personal favorite driving spots. When you come into the valley from the west towards the coast, you'll pass some small vineyards and the San Diego Safari Park, and after that you'll pass some farms in the valley. Once you proceed further, you'll hit some winding roads that begin to climb into the mountains, and ultimately it will drop you off up in Ramona, and from there you can go deeper into the mountains towards Alpine if you like. Well, for us now, we're gonna fast forward to Big Bear. I'm using a track recorder called SkyDolly. It's completely free and it just takes the hassle out of making videos with FlightSim. If any of you have tried the video replay system that is native to FlightSim, you can tell it still needs a bit of polish. SkyDolly simply runs in the background and you tell it to record and stop, so it's possible to film an entire flight, then rewatch it afterwards with time acceleration or in real time, and it allows you to get different views with a lot of ease of use. Big Bear traffic, Piper 304 Romeo Sierra is 10 nautical miles to the west, inbound to land, left downwind, runway 26, Big Bear traffic. Alright, we just made our first call to the Common Traffic Advisory frequency to let anyone know that is listening we're inbound to land. I was very unprepared for this landing, and it's something I want to do again a few times later on. I was caught off guard how the terrain rises in some parts of the pattern entry, and it didn't feel quite right. I'm sure I was probably a lot lower than I should have been, but I think I was distracted looking around outside of the cockpit instead of periodically keeping tabs on my altitude. Big Bear traffic, Piper 4 Romeo Sierra, entering left downwind runway 26 for full stop, Big Bear. Here you can see what I was talking about. The field is at 6,752 feet. I was thinking I was at 7,700 feet, but we can clearly see I'm a lot lower than that. Seeing the hills directly in front of me in the pattern definitely threw me off. Once I noticed this, I had more power to climb and try to get out to where we need to be. It's a hot summer day down here in SoCal, and you can see the bumpy ride we've been enduring in this pattern. I really enjoy that about Flight Sim. It makes the environment feel alive, that the air mass isn't some sterile thing, but actually interacting with your aircraft, and I find that really cool. Big Bear traffic, Piper 304 Romeo Sierra is on base, runway 26, full stop landing, Big Bear. What we're seeing here with the flaps moving around is something SkyDolly was having trouble with. In some rare cases, it doesn't quite capture the flaps configuration or light configuration correctly, and it's usually fixed by reloading the track. I just didn't notice this until we're going through all the film captures I collected, so.
Big Bear traffic, Papa 304 Romeo Sierra on short final runway 26 full stop landing, Big Bear.
Another reason I'd love to practice around here some more is trying to capture that correct base to final turn. I absolutely blew through it here, but it's alright, I'm now just enjoying the views. This airport is a great free update to a destination that many fly to down here in SoCal. If you fly in this region, but also live down around these parts, there's probably one thing you might easily notice with this scenery update. The San Bernardino Mountains, and specifically all around Big Bear, have a better representation of trees. It's been my experience that the default vegetation used to represent Southern California is a little too restrictive. There are a lot of pine trees in Southern California, from people's backyards in the suburbs, around metro areas, to whole forests of them, like Pine Valley for one, right outside of San Diego. This add-on adds better representation of vegetation to Big Bear and its mountainous surrounding areas, and I hope that's something we can see also added to other areas in general down in Southern California.
304 Romeo Sierra is clear of runway 26, Big Bear traffic.
So as we taxi over to the main building, we've got some time to talk about some big flight sim news. X-Plane 12 Early Access is now out and available. You can try the demo for free, it's on their website. It'll basically set you up around Portland International Airport in Oregon, and you're free to fly around. Once the time expires, you just close out the sim, restart it, and you've got fresh time to fly around. If you've got X-Plane 11, you can actually import some of your add-ons into the demo and test to see if they work. I was able to import this aircraft's XP11 version into the demo, and it flew just fine. If you were to buy the sim, it'll set you back $60 US. I'll probably end up picking it up later on. Right now it's in early access, and after my DCS days I tend to avoid that kind of stuff. Well, another one for the books. Debriefing this flight, I think the major takeaway for me is that I need to be sure to pre-flight plan my pattern entries. I was so used to flying the overhead midfield at 1500 to 2000 foot AGL standard pattern entry, where then you would fly out 2 miles and come back in at pattern altitude. I didn't think of the implications that a field like this would have, because it doesn't have the room around it like many of the other fields I've been landing at. So it's something I'll look out for. In the pattern, I need to keep better tabs on the altitude, that's for sure. Well, that's going to be it for me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.